Today I just wanted to take a quick look at a independently produced short film called A Specter Whispers in the Dark. This is a film that was filmed with a very modest to minimal film budget. It very much has the feel of a group of people getting together to complete this film during their spare time, presumably on weekends, things like that. But it's a bit of a muddled or confused film. I did speak to the film's director or producer about this, and he had honestly said he wanted to leave the film open to interpretation, which it definitely really does. But the ending of the film itself, in my opinion, is just a little bit too open. But I guess we'll see what you guys think once you take a look at this film, and I will link that in the description for you. But it's essentially the story of a independent woman. She lives alone. One day, I guess you could say, an ex-boyfriend comes calling. He spends the night on her couch. So I'm not really too sure what exactly it was that had gone on with him. I do not recall at this moment, but she later shares a story on how, as a young girl, she had found out that her father was cheating on her mother, and due to some unseen force, I guess some evil character or whatnot, her father had asked her not to speak of this because bad things would happen. So she's essentially a young girl enlisted in keeping her father's infidelity a secret from her mother. Why, we really don't know the exact reason. Obviously, we can assume maybe the father was selfish and still wanted to keep the best of both worlds. We don't know, but obviously children being young children, they definitely do believe what they are told, and they generally tend to do as they are told. But on this particular evening, supposedly this dark figure returns. It attacks the ex-boyfriend, presumably because she told the secret that she was sworn not to tell, even though she's telling someone completely different, or maybe it's due to split personality or something else. But that part definitely is left very open-ended. I want to just assume that it's a split personality. I just want to rationalize this and say that she attacked the guy herself. Do we ever really find out what exactly did happen? No, we don't. But for the most part, the acting is pretty decent. You can tell these are guys that have been acting for a while. They do need some practice. I'm not going to be rude and nitpick, but you know, when everyone's starting off, everyone has to start somewhere, and they definitely do a good job with what they've got. They definitely do a good job with the material. The dialogue itself does come off as a bit stiff and forced in the delivery at times, but as far as the writing itself, it does to some degree also seem to follow normal speech patterns. So I think it's just kind of like a combination of the two. You have actors with limited skill as well as a bit of rough, unpolished writing. Once again, I'm not trying to knock on the film, but more offer suggestions for the future. So that's really all I'm trying to do here. But there was one particular scene for me that just really stood out, which was a scene with a red light. The red light itself just kind of seems to just wash over and make things a little bit too difficult to see. I understand it was done for effect or atmosphere, but what I would suggest in the future doing, rather than using red lighting or red light bulbs, is if you do have like LED lighting or anything like that, put red gels over your lights, and it actually gives you more depth, and it still gives you that red tint or tone that you want, without actually losing any of the detail on the screen. So those are just my suggestions. Once again, I'm not trying to be rude or say anything unnecessary or uncalled for, but for the most part, yes, they did do a good job with what they had available to them. It's not a bad film, but I can definitely see where in the future there would be room for improvement. I have not followed up with any of their other films, so maybe I will revisit in the future and see how they have done from now versus in some project in the future. But that is all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later. This was a film that was filmed with a very modest